So one of the more difficult emotions to deal with is anger. It can be very consuming and destabilizing in that when we're feeling angry, we can be very activated and it can be hard to ground ourselves. So if you're angry, it could be hard to sit in meditation or have a conversation or function normally because there's very strong activation and everything is kind of seen through that lens, like wearing tinted glasses, like a red tint. Anything you look at is going to have that same red tint. And when we're activated in anger, everything we try to do is potentially going to be colored by that anger. So the question becomes, how do we deal with anger? And we can start by accepting it. And it seems obvious. Yes, of course. Accepting anger. And logically, it makes sense. And you may have heard this as a technique before, but how? How do we accept anger? And first, it would be a looking at it and recognizing that it is there. So just like anything in a meditative practice, where we choose an object of meditation and bring awareness to this object, we can use the anger as the object of the meditation. So if you happen to be angry about something, try this exercise. Bringing awareness to the anger itself. Seeing where it lives in the body. Where do you feel the anger? Locate its home in the body. What is the breathing like when anger is here? So we're looking at the anger with awareness. The alternative approach would be to look away, to avoid. And it's been my experience, my personal experience, that when I look away from the anger or try to avoid it, it creates more tension and more tightness, and sometimes a secondary anger. Anger about the fact that I'm angry and I don't know how to deal with it. So an alternative approach is to turn the lens around, turn the awareness directly at the awareness, the anger. And holding the anger in this awareness. Thich Nhat Hanh is a monk and a peace activist. He often says, in dealing with anger, we can approach it like we would approach a crying baby. To soothe a crying baby, you would pick them up and rock them and tell them it's going to be okay. But first acknowledging that the baby is there crying. And in the same way, The anger is here, acknowledging that it is here, and I guess you can say picking it up in your awareness and rocking or soothing. If a baby is crying, it won't serve the baby or the caretaker to get angry at the baby for crying. It will only create more anger. And to avoid or ignore the baby will also create more suffering. So again, trying this experiment. Looking right at the anger with awareness. You can try this experiment over time with yourself. It's like if you give yourself some time to sit and look directly at the anger, what happens to it? If it feels as if it is escalating and becoming stronger, it might be helpful to give yourself a break or a rest from it, because it may be true that that's not serving you. If you find yourself sitting with your anger and only becoming more angry, then take a rest from it. At least that's what I've found to be helpful in my own life. I will often get angry at myself during meditation practices because of it comes from self-judgment, as if I'm not doing something right. And what I've found to be helpful for me is when I see myself getting angry, first recognizing it and then putting my hand on my heart as a way of saying, like, it's okay. Self-soothing, like tending to a crying baby. So what I've found to be true is that it's much more helpful to soothe the anger, to look at it, comfort it, befriend it, and allow it to be here in me and be tender towards it, than to do anything else, any other approach. And the same thing goes with interacting with another person. When there's anger, say I'm having an argument with another person and anger exists, it's much more helpful for me to recognize that the anger is there and bring it into the conversation in some way. Maybe by even saying, I'm angry right now. And that might mean I need to step away. If it's too much, if it's just leading to more anger, stepping away. And it's very likely that if I'm angry and arguing with another person, they're angry as well, so it is also recognizing their anger. And since we know anger ourselves, and we know that it causes suffering, we can know that it's causing a similar suffering in this other person, and they may not have the tools or the awareness to soothe their own anger. So if you use the tools that you have that you can practice by bringing awareness to these emotions, it can be helpful for you and the people that you have relationships with in your life. So I think it starts by just having a general meditation practice or awareness practice where you're bringing awareness to what's happening in your body, in your experience, over and over. And then over time, when this anger arises, it's just one of the occurrences, one of the experiences that is happening. And you're able to see it more clearly in this greater space of awareness. And then once you're able to see it arising, then the choice becomes, do I turn towards it or away from it? Do I soothe it or get angry at it? So we really have more of a choice than we may think. But the mindfulness creates the choice. Seeing that it is there, seeing the pattern of anger first. It's what has to come first. And that can come from having a meditation practice.